What's going on, guys? Hey, so how do you know if you're being an intentional leader in every area of your life? I'm going to share with you guys a tool today I think is really going to help you being proactive as a leader. And so this tool is called the Five Circles of Influence, and it really deals with the question, are you being an intentional leader or an accidental leader? Are you being a leader that's proactively trying to fight for the highest possible good for all of those people that he leads, or is it someone who is kind of running through life? Again, we don't when we're being accidental. By the way, this is the easier nature. It's easier to be accidental than it is to be intentional because being intentional requires effort, right? But a lot of times we're just kind of going through life and we get busy and stressed and things are going on. It's easy to be accidental because we got so much stuff going on. So it's not that we don't want to be intentional. It's just that, man, life is crazy. I got work, I got family, I got kids, sports, and everything's going on at once. That's why it's so difficult sometimes to be intentional, and it's much more natural to be accidental. So this is how the tool works, right? So intentional versus accidental. You see this circle right here. It says self, family, team, organization, and community. If you've been part of any large organization, you might have had some kind of an individual come in and do consulting on, how do you really be more effective in your team and your organization. And anybody that's taught things like this, they automatically jump to team and they automatically jump to organization because that's where you need to be productive. That's where work starts, and you need to build your teams and blah blah. Right? That's all really good, and we need to be intentional with our teams. We need to be intentional in our organization, but rarely does anybody teach us where it starts. Okay, intentionality starts with self. It's the core of who we are. Right? If you talk to any major athlete that's spent any time in competitive sports or college pro level, they'll tell you that, look, in order to have a strong body, to have effective legs and arms, like the core has to be developed. You cannot not do the core work of your body. If you just do your arms and your legs, you're gonna be like a noodle, right? You're gonna be flopping around. You need to develop the core muscles in your body so that your body can have the strength it needs and you can have that body control as an athlete, right? So core training is so important. Same thing with this here, right? If we're neglecting ourself, we're not building into ourself, it's going to be harder for us to really intentionally lead in the other areas of our life. So it starts with self, being intentional with myself. What does that look like? Okay. How are you building into yourself? What are you giving yourself on a daily basis? Are you spending time in the Word every day? Are you spending time receiving the Word of God that's going to develop and strengthen you as an inner man? Because once you have that power from the Lord, you can go into your family, you can go into your team and organization and your community. You can lead more effectively when you're receiving that. It's really important that we invest in ourselves, right? Here's another good way to do that. Coaching is a great way. I coach a lot of guys on how to be more self-aware, how to become more positive, how to be a better leader to themselves and then also to their families and then their organizations, and really empowering men to be the leader God's calling them to be. And that's what I love to do. And that is a great way to build into yourself, to build that core, right? Is to have someone come alongside you and say, hey, how are things going in your family? How are things going at work? How can we get you from A to B, right? That's what this is all about. So another great way to be building your core. So starts with your core. The next circle of influence is family, right? Again, if you're married, you have kids, whatever, it's really important that you're developing that core of your family. Because if you're a lot of us as guys, we really tend to push all that we have and all that we do in our team and organization, and we spend all of our time building those spheres up. But what happens is that when family starts to close down, we start to implode, because that's really where our strength comes from, is that family. But a lot of times we neglect that. And so are we spending intentional time with our family? Are we being intentional with our wives? Are we praying with our wives? Are we doing Bible study with our wives? Are we going to church and worshiping with our wives, right? That's going to build that section of your family. That's important. Kids are the same way. Are you being intentional leaders to your kids on a spiritual level and just a father level, right? Are you spending time in prayer with your kids? Are you teaching them the word? Are you praying with them? Are you watching them develop and doing Bible study with them? Whatever it is, are you being intentional with them so that they're growing to be young men and young women of the Lord, right? And so, again, putting that time, that intentional effort into being strong at the family level is going to be huge. And then we go to the team, right? That now we can start focusing on, now that we have the core developed, we can start really focusing on our team. Are we being intentional with our team? How do we get our teams, whether they're work teams, whether they're ministry teams, how do we get them going from A to B? What are our goals and how are we going to get there, right? A lot of times our coaching programs that I do with my guys are a great way to help them get their teams more healthy, getting them healthy as leaders so they can pour into their teams better. That's another thing that we do as well. And then organization at large. Are you a larger part of your work organization? Are you spending time developing good relationships within your organization that's going to help you and your team down the line? That's a huge piece of I'm sure what you guys do. And then community, right? What does that look like? The last sphere of influence. I mean, that could be literally our neighbors, right? Our neighbors are our community. But I think a lot of guys go, well, what is my community outside of my exact neighbor? And I tell them, hey, are you involved at your church? Your church is part of your community. If you're not involved in a small group, if you're not serving in any kind, you're leaving a piece of community out where you can be real intentional and really pressing into people. And so that's that sphere of community. So that's how it works. That's 5 circles of influence. And what I challenge you guys to do is write this down or take a screenshot of this, and then kind of rate yourself on where you think you are in these circles. So we use 3 colors. We use green, yellow, and red. Green meaning like, hey, I'm doing really well. I couldn't be doing better. Yellow is like, I'm doing okay. And red is like, man, I'm just neglecting this altogether. So take some time to go through this tool and then rate yourself. Where are you at with self? Where are you at with family? Where are you at with team? Where are you at with organization? Maybe you don't have an organization. Maybe like you are an entrepreneur and you have a team, but you are the organization. That's fine. Like I get sometimes every circle is not completely transferable and applicable to every single individual, but rate yourself, give yourself a green, a yellow, or a red on all these circles. And if you find yourself being a yellow, okay, cool. You know, you're kind of in between. If you're in between, you kind of know what you can do to increase that. But if you're a red in any of these circles, really start thinking through how can I be more intentional in that sphere of influence. So hopefully, guys, that helps you guys. I want to definitely take that tool, work it, see where you guys are at, and I really pray that you guys will start recognizing where you're being more intentional, because the goal is, how do I be more of an intentional leader in every sphere of my life? So anyway, guys, have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.